Still our 38th attempt at bringing some humor and some intelligence and some discussion to you about our favorite pastime. So this week we're going to start off with something I held over because I thought this was interesting. Someone said, I love the triomes, some of my favorite lands ever. I know you can't give me specifics, but do you know when we will see the other 5? Mayro says, I can only say we're aware that the players want the rest of them. The key is finding the right place to put them. I can't say if we found it yet, as it would highly signal what's coming. I think the tense that he puts that in, and the way he puts it, I think they found a way to go back to Alara.
I believe that is probably where we...
Prove me wrong.
I think Alara is where we have to see them, yeah.
I think that's what he's hinting at in a roundabout way. Now, whether that's in 1 year, 2 year, or somewhere down the road on the 5 to 7 year plan, I think it's in the works. I think it's closer than we might expect.
I would imagine. I find it hard to think that they'll come up with a whole nother 3-color based plane to be working off of for them.
Oh, we wanted to do this. We're already started. We could start over, I guess. We wanted to do this. You read one part and I read the other.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to do it that way?
That's why we have been doing it.
We didn't last time. We were in catch-up mode.
Yeah, that's right.
But, so Ixnay on what we did so far, eh? Take 2.
There we go.
Take 2. Hey, y'all.
Here we are.
Gildicans.
And Gildacould-bees.
And Gildacould-bees. We are back with another episode of Reblogatog. This is number 38 if you're keeping track. And if you're not,
it's still 38.
It's still episode 38. We take Mark Rosewater's Tumblr account and we regurgitate the baby birding he's done to us and try to feed it to you.
We turn Blogatog into Reblogatog.
Reblogatog. So this week we're going to start off with something I held over from last week because I wanted to kick off a show with it.
It's a good kickoff.
It's a good kickoff. Someone wrote in, I love the triomes. Some of my favorite lands ever. I know you can't give us specifics, but do you know when we will see the other 5? Mayro responded,
I can only say we're aware that players want the rest of them. The key is finding the right place to put them. I can't say if we found it yet, as it would highly signal what's coming. By warning us he's highly signaling what's coming, it kind of highly signals what might be coming.
That's like Alara, right?
Yeah.
We can't be the only ones thinking Alara is en route.
Yeah, it's been...
you're going to see as we get to some other stuff, and we may just call back to it, but things that were verboten or tough to get to or we just can't do that are popping off pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're possible now.
Yeah. All right. How do the commander rules work with the MDFC legendary creatures? If I cast one side, do I have to pay commander tax to cast the other side later? Words.
From the Commander Rules Committee, commanderness is a non-copyable property of the card itself. If an MDFC is a legendary creature on one face, it can be your commander. You can then cast either side from the command zone. Command tax applies to the card itself, not which face you cast.
And obviously, the card is colors of both sides.
Yes.
So, there's that.
There is that.
It's kind of odd to see watermarks tied to a mechanic, foretell, instead of factions. Any insight on how or why it happened?
Watermarks are a visual way to group cards. They're not restricted to any particular kinds of grouping. I believe they've done this before as well with some mechanics having a watermark. I'm not 100% on that.
Well, they've done it with the guilds, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a visual tell, kind of like they're using frames for legendaries,
Right.
and like they had the little gravestone
Thing.
thing, you know, back for the
Flashback.
for the
Or-
stuff.
no, not flashback.
It was back in Odyssey. We talked about this a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
now it's just
Yeah,
gone.
Yeah,
Threshold.
threshold. So, so yeah, I mean, having a watermark says, hey, there's something different about this card. So, we're going to continue on the same way.
If you want to, that I can take the next one, or I can jump right in here. I'm okay with that.
However you want to go, man. We can switch it up.
Is Phyrexian a creature type? As a creature type, going to cause a lot of errata?
It will create some errata, yes.
I'm very interested to see that update. Personally, I want to see what all becomes of Phyrexian.
Yeah, we got some more that highlight this issue.
What made you guys finally decide to pull the trigger on the Phyrexian errata? If I remember correctly, previously you said it would be too confusing on past cards to consider it.
That was R&D's opinion for a long time, but enough of R&D changed that the opinions changed. You know, there's a turnover that, you know,
Yeah.
new members come in.
Yeah.
That's how we got some squirrels, apparently. That's how dogs, just like, why aren't they dogs? You know, so that's a thing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue down this for just another moment.
One more time.
So, Mark, are you sure it's only a few cards getting a errata update to Phyrexian? Aren't there like 100 plus creatures from the Scars of Mirrodin block that could get the Phyrexian type based on the Phyrexian watermarks on the cards? There's approximately 15 legendary creatures that possibly need the type, and any creature with the word Phyrexian at the beginning.
Few was me being sarcastic. Yes, sarcasm is hard to read in print. Smiley face.
You know, I don't think every creature with the word Phyrexian at the beginning is going to get updated, because I think a lot of those are constructs of some kind, a lot of artifact constructs.
They could be, but I think it's going to be a substantial update. I believe it will be... I mean, I think it's reserved to say dozens. Don't you think we'll get hundreds?
Probably.
At least 200? I mean,
Probably at least a
be
couple
larger
hundred.
than dinosaurs. It'll be larger than dogs.
We've had Phyrexian stuff since antiquities.
Since antiquities. So
yeah.
yeah.
That's a lot.
All right, with the most popular format being Singleton, Commander, and my love for legendary lands, words cannot express my disappointment that I can't tutor for the World Tree with Captain Sisay. Instead of removing legendary from lands, would you please consider the legend rule doesn't apply to this card, added as rules text. Being legendary is important for those Vorthos players who have a special love or connection to unique things.
Longtime readers know that I've wanted to strip the mechanical definition of legendary for years. That would allow us to let flavor dictate when legendary gets used.
There was quite a discussion on this, and I kind of cut it down to this one, and there might be another one talking about it at some point.
I'm just going to put my foot down, and this is one of the places I very sternly disagree with Mayro. I don't want to see the mechanical definition slipped away, and I think it's good for there to be feel-bads in the game.
Well, that's one of the reasons. It's a feel-bad if you get two of these lands in your hand. It's not like a creature that might die and get, you could play another one. It's a land, so it's just stuck in your hand. And so mechanically that's relevant, and gameplay it's a feels bad. So that's one of the reasons they don't do legendary lands. And then if you haven't heard before, and there may be another mention of it, but he would like to take away the mechanical rules baggage of legendary so that it wouldn't mean that. And then he would substitute unique on those legendary things where it's a play consideration. And they would be considered unique where you could only have one. So, but he would like to just whitewash over 28 years of legendaries, and there would only be a few unique cards that would exist. Most of the legendaries, it would be a problem to have multiples on the field.
That's okay.
I'm explaining it because I'm not sure if I left
Right,
another explanation in there.
I get it, I just don't agree with it. There we go. People are calling Raven form a break. Is it?
Here's what I can say about Raven form. Oh, do you guys know what Raven form is?
Yeah,
if you listen and you don't know.
Let's go over the card real quick.
It's in Kaldheim.
Yep.
It's a sorcery.
It's a common.
It's a common sorcery for a blue and 2, and it has foretell
Of 1 blue.
1 blue. All right, so let's get to the words, right?
Yeah.
Exile target artifact or creature. Yep, I said artifact or creature.
Yep.
Its controller creates a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. That's what it does. So
Pretty good.
back to the answer. Here's what I can say about Raven form. Magic is a game made by a lot of very smart people. Many decisions happened after lengthy and meaningful discussions between them. Raven form affecting artifacts was one such topic. If the decision was mine, and mine alone to make, I wouldn't have had it affect artifacts.
All right. Well, let's continue down that road for a minute.
Okay?
Is blue having artifact destruction a deliberate change to the color pie we should expect more of going forward?
Hopefully, no. I'm sad that he has to put hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sad that he has to put hopefully on there. Black just got enchantment removal
after
now,
all this time. But blue can destroy and exile some artifacts. Why not?
yeah.
We don't have to argue about that for a decade. Hello, Marrow. I've been a Magic player for a long time. 1998.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
I'm very excited for the return of Snow. I'm a fan of yours broadly, more than in just the realm of Magic, so thank you for that. Overall, I'm just a competitively casual player. No tournaments, favoring fun over power. Limited is actually my favorite way to play. I have to ask about Raven form. Outside of Limited, including casual constructed, this is a highly efficient creature removal spell that is as good as most of Black's and most of White's answers. And it's blue.
It's blue.
I know there have been a few of these card molds before, but this is the boldest one yet. As part of a growing trend to presumably give blue transformation removal, but they are very potent. They evade the graveyard, hard creature removal spells, sorcery speed, notwithstanding this case, and blanking any threat for a fixed 1/1 flyer. By comparison, at least Pongify or the like made a beefy 3/3. And the Khan's Dragons block had a chance of... ...
Yeah, it was really long, so this guy rambled.
Fair.
Raven form is not meant to be a precedent.
The question before he just said, hopefully no.
I know, it doesn't give me a lot of... I'm thinking there's some more of it coming. Because he says, hopefully no, and it's not meant to be a precedent. I'm worried.
As thou should be. So has Commander really surpassed Kitchen Table or whatever cards you have as the most popular format?
No, not even close. Play with what I own surpasses any format by large margins. For example, and this is what I thought interesting about this, because we already knew this.
Yeah.
This person all mixed up. Less than 1 in 10 has ever played a sanctioned event. And my best guess is the majority of Magic players don't even know what a format is.
That's probably a really good guess.
Yeah, I'd say that's relatively accurate.
Is there any reason that snow cards in Kaldheim aren't white bordered in some of their premium showcase versions? It just seems spot on for snow. And we did have T-Bolt get a white bordered version in a secret lair.
Okay, before I even answered this, using a secret lair April Fool's printing of a card as a precedent is just out there.
It's a little bit.
This is me. We don't think white bordered cards look good. The white border tends to wash out the art. That's why they haven't been doing it. That's why.
You better not print any more white bordered cards.
And the people who like white bordered cards are a minority, and they only like them because they're not
Because
available.
nobody else likes them. That's why we mostly like them.
Mostly, yes. Removing the legendary rule would terrorize every format, even worse than removing the Planeswalker restriction. Just think about the possibility of double Teferi Time Raveler, or Questing Beast, or more than one Sheoldred, the Whispering One. Any one of those cards can flip the table, but without legendary, there'd be a million of them. I'm just not sure what the benefits could be against that much brokenness. Considering all the strong legends lately, it needs to be more restrictive, not less.
My recommendation comes with a unique mechanic that can be applied to the small number of cards that need the restriction. Note that the most played format right now is Commander, which is Singleton. Adding more cards with Legendary as a marker is mostly upside for Commander. I just don't understand what Legendary cards wouldn't need the unique thing. Unless you're just ready to throw all flavor out the window and I can have multiple of the same person.
Well, we've thrown it out with Planeswalkers and it hasn't broken anything. I had 3 Lilianas on the field earlier tonight.
That's fair.
They had different names, but it was 3. Drana now has like 47 cards. Am I allowed to put all of her and have all of her cards out? She's still the same creature,
Yeah.
but just because her name is different? What kind of drawbacks would be necessary to print a demonic tutor in today's Magic? Assuming the converted mana cost stays at 2, and it tutors for any card to the hand. Is paying life enough of a cost? Maybe exiling cards from your hand.
Well, it's hard to balance it with life as you start with life. It would probably have to be a resource you have to build up over time. For example, I could imagine exiling a certain number of cards from your graveyard. One with Delve on it? 2 black and whatever with Delve?
Well, Delve actually reduces the cost by exiling, so
Right.
So then you don't have a cost.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The CMC isn't still 2.
So it's not Delve. So, but he's thinking exiling cards. So it's like turn 1, you don't drop a Lotus Petal in Demonic Tutor because you'd have to exile more than just that Lotus Petal that you dropped in there, right? So I count so many mechanics in Kaldheim. Modal double face cards, Saga, Snow, Tribal, plus Changeling, Foretell, Boast, Equipment matters, Vehicles matter, Legendaries matter, and Treasures.
That's 11.
I'm not sure they got them all.
No, I don't think ruins.
The set seems so complex and exciting, even with half of it being returning mechanics. How do you know it isn't too much mechanics for one set?
The test, as they say, is in the pudding. We'll see how it does.
I got to correct him. It's the proof is in the pudding. I've never heard of the test is in the pudding.
As I was reading this, I was like, this does not come out. This does not feel right.
I don't know if it's because he's from somewhere else.
Maybe.
In different parts of the country. Is it the test is in the pudding?
I don't.
But I say the proof is in the pudding all the time.
Yeah.
Which is still a weird thing to say.
Because why is the proof in the pudding? But, I'm just going to say with this, we had almost this exact conversation like a year ago with Ikoria. Ikoria was a highly complex set with a lot of mechanics and a lot of things going on. And it was just fine. So I think, once again, we're going to be just fine.
Well, in all fairness, Paper Magic was at a standstill. Commander is the new love child, and Commander is already complex. And if you watch any of our Chatter the Squirrels episode, you might have heard me talking a little bit about what if Standard went away except for MTG Arena. And Commander is already, like I said, that's the number one way to play, the number one format to play, because Cards I Own isn't a format. Those people don't even know there's a format. So if you look at Kaldheim, there is a high complexity level. There are a lot of words on cards, and that's a thing.
There is a lot of words on cards is a real big thing. Even just not just the mechanics. There's a lot of words on these cards. Lots of text.
And I'd have to go look it up, but in Ikoria, it didn't pass muster the first time, and they had to go back and remove words because there was too many words on the cards.
Well,
there's a whole article on it we could reference, and I didn't go dig it up. That's on me, but there is a whole article on it.
A set before that with Theros, I remember we had a conversation about Thassa's Oracle and how many words that they specifically thought to keep that card because they wanted it, even though it is such a wordy card.
Yeah,
it was a thing.
Apparently, words are good now. Words are good.
All right, this is an interesting question. He doesn't answer it, sadly, but imagine that there was to be a signature spellbook, Mark Rosewater, which will contain 8 cards. You are the sole person responsible for putting the cards into it. You are allowed no more than 2 colors, a maximum of 1 colorless artifact, and a maximum of 1 silver-bordered card. What would your 8 cards be?
Well, that's a great question, but one I'll let fans think about. The 2 obvious answers are Mayro and Doubling Season. So one of the colors is green.
Yep.
There's so many cards, it is really hard to come up with these things.
We did this personally on a Chatter months back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it, I don't know, if a colorless artifact, I don't know, probably Doubling Cube, right? Because it's got doubling. He loves to double. 1 silver bordered card, man, I don't even know.
What's the one he did the artwork for?
Look at me, I'm the DCCI.
Maybe.
You think he'd pick his own artwork?
Maybe.
Wouldn't pick a squirrel card? Come on, man. We got to get a squirrel card in here somewhere.
Squirrel, yeah.
So I don't know. Another color, he himself always says that he isn't. He's blue and red. So I'd have to think there'd be some blue or red in there that go with the green.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which it would be.
I don't know.
Probably blue.
Probably blue.
I would probably pick blue. So I'm not sure what those other cards would be, but it is an interesting mind exercise.
All right. We were just talking about this on Chatter earlier. Is T-Balt's Trickery a break, or can we expect to see more like it in the future?
It's a red polymorph spell. It's a bit of a bend, so we'll see how this one goes. It is a complicated as hell polymorph spell.
It is.
But yes, I guess it is a polymorph spell.
It is, and
they gave us Transmogrify.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something they're exploring more.
Yeah, it's got the weirdness to it because they're trying to stop any top deck manipulation. That's why you choose 1, 2, or 3 at random and mill those cards so that you can't like counter your own spell to get something better. They're trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
A lot of words.
A lot of words.
A lot of words. How did you decide what would be on the back of the gods? Some are equipment, one is a planeswalker, and another is just an artifact.
Here was the constraints. It had to be a permanent. It had to be thematically tied to the god, and we wanted lots of variety. They nailed that because I believe there's one that's an enchantment as well. I think they've got all the permanent types almost nailed down now.
Right, yeah, that was one of the things. In his article, Making Magic, he talks about it a little bit. Hey, Mark, I'm loving these new gods from Kaldheim. Can you share with us how many gods are in Kaldheim? I'm wondering if there will be 3 of each color, since the previews have shown us 3 black so far.
There are 12 gods in Kaldheim.
And then, how did Kaldheim end up with 12 gods? started with a factor of 5 and end up removing a couple?
Well, the Kaldheim gods were more based on individual MDFC designs than on a larger structure like the Theros and Amonkhet gods.
Yeah, it's not even.
No.
In other words, it's not even. They based it off story and what they thought was cool.
And card designs they could turn into gods, it really seems, kind of.
Right, yeah, that's what they did. You doing that one?
We can't call it mill. It's not resonant enough. We can't make a Phyrexian creature type. The line's too blurry. We can't make trample into a bolt. The templating's too clunky. What other impossible feats are upcoming?
Smiley face, it never gets boring. So again, I've already said this in previous episodes here or on Chatter that I don't think anything's off the table.
No.
Things that we used to think were just never going to happen, I'm looking for them all now. I'd like to dig up a list. If somebody wants to help me put together a list, he said in the past stuff they wouldn't do. Like, I think we're going to Allard. He's always said that stuff. I think we're going back to Kamigawa in some fashion. Because he's always said we couldn't do it.
Neon Dynasty.
We're going back to Kamigawa. I think we're doing all the stuff that they've always said they couldn't do. I think we're doing every single bit.
They even missed dogs. They're dogs now, too. I mean, just stuff that wasn't ever going to happen continues to happen. Maro, have you ever designed a cube? How many creatures should be in a 360 card set?
Well, a normal Magic set, and I don't know if we've went over this before, has 55% creatures. So your cube to match regular Magic ought to be 55% creatures.
You count dozens or hundreds of Magic sets he's designed as essentially like a cube. I mean, when he starts, that's kind of what he's doing, right?
I guess he's been there long enough. Basically, all of Magic is this cube.
There seems to be a significant number of exile effects in Kaldheim. Raven Form, Feed the Serpent, Crush the Weak, Divine Gambit. Was there a design reason that the team wanted this much exile?
Yes. Kaldheim has a graveyard as a resource thing.
And they're also still reeling from what Theros did. With the recently spoiled Ascendant Spirit, are ability counters deciduous?
They're slowly moving in that direction. So yeah, Ascendant Spirit is also, that's the one we just read on Chatter, right?
The one that it's kind of the level up like.
It's like a level up. It's like, yeah.
It costs
there was a Kithkin that started that off.
Yeah.
I think it was a Kithkin.
It costs
Boros Kithkin.
It costs 1 blue mana, but for 2 snow mana, it's a 1 blue mana, 1/1, but for 2 snow mana, it turns into something else.
A 2/3 warrior, and then for 3 snow mana, it becomes a 4/4
angel.
Warrior angel, and yeah.
Yeah, they just keep, yeah.
Hey, Mark, I was wondering. This is the last one, by the way.
Yes.
I was wondering if you had any information regarding the new templating of and or that is showing up in Kaldheim. Doesn't this just take up more space than and? For cards like Bearded Axe, it reads as if I have the choice of counting all my dwarves, equipment, and vehicles, or I can choose some combination of them to determine the bonus. Now, seeing it on the land that tutors for auras and or equipment, just saying and would still let you get one or both since you can fail to find.
Not every player understands the failure to find rule. Using and or makes the functionality of the card easier to understand.
And I get that.
Yeah, I've always kind of...
I don't know, there might be tabletops at home where games just get locked up and go, well, I don't have one to find with that. What do we do now? Is the game over?
I don't know. It says you have to.
Do I lose?
Yeah, I
don't know if that happens.
It is one of those things, I'll admit, I always curious why it didn't say that, because especially in the last few years, they've changed a lot of templating to make things easier to read like that. So I'm not surprised that they did that. So...
Anyway, that does it for this week's episode. We hope that you join us once again next week when we will
Not have an episode.
not have an episode. But join us the next week that we do.
Next week, we'll be recording the Golden Acorns, our yearly awards.
Our yearly award show.
So,
We're slower than everybody else. Everybody else got them out at the end of December. We save ours.
we save ours until everybody's done watching those. Then come watch ours.
Then come watch ours. So anyway, we appreciate y'all.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.